Welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes you find something really fascinating online, but who has the time to go super deep?
That's exactly where we step in.
We take those interesting sources, pull out the key bits, the real insights, so you get the essence fast.
And today, we've got a really thought-provoking one.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Jake Hart, your host, and I'm really quite excited about what we've dug into.
Hi, I'm Zara Moon, here to guide you along the way.
So we're diving into the world of Ann Tucker's YouTube channel today. She shares some, well, really captivating ideas.
Specifically, we're zoning in on one video. It's called Channeled. Doing this creates new Earth.
Okay, now Ann describes herself as a trance channel. So what does that mean? Basically, she enters this deep meditative state.
Right.
And she says she brings through messages, healing, information, all from what she calls the angelic realm.
Pretty amazing stuff.
It really is.
Yeah.
And so our mission for this deep dive is simple. What's the core message here? What are the angels apparently saying through Ann about how this new Earth actually gets created?
Let's get right to it then. So the message Anne shares, it really focuses on the how, the process. And it's a bit different from how we usually think about, say, manifestation.
Right. Manifestation, we often talk about it like you picture something specific, something that kind of already exists out there, like a new job or...
Exactly. A new car, maybe. You focus on it, you attract it.
Yeah.
But the angels, according to Anne's channeling, they suggest that creating something totally new, like new Earth, something that hasn't existed before, needs a different approach.
Okay, so if it's not about visualizing a specific thing that's already out there, what is the key action then?
Stillness. The angels, through Anne, really emphasize creating an opening through achieving stillness.
Stillness. Interesting. So what do they mean by that? Just chilling out?
It's more than just relaxing, though. That's part of it. It's about reaching this state of, deep inner peace. Real quiet inside.
Yeah.
Think less about doing something and more about just being really present and still.
And this stillness, it's not passive. It actually does something.
That's the fascinating part. They say the stillness creates a kind of opening, like a receptive space.
An opening.
Yeah, a space where totally new potentials, things you couldn't have even imagined maybe, can start to emerge.
Ah, so it's like clearing out the mental noise, the clutter, to make room for something unexpected.
That's a great way to think about it. It's sort of a shift, Anne explains, from that very active, maybe masculine energy of always creating, by doing, by pushing,
Right.
towards a more receptive, perhaps feminine energy, that space of infinite potential that you find in the quiet.
Okay, but getting to that deep stillness,
Yep.
it sounds like it involves more than just, sitting quietly for 5 minutes. There's this talk of releasing resistance.
Exactly. That's crucial. Anne's channeling emphasizes that achieving this stillness, it's an ongoing thing. It involves releasing and allowing.
Releasing and allowing. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it points towards self-mastery. It means learning to stop fighting against what is. That includes accepting ourselves right here, right now, flaws and all.
Because all that fighting, that inner resistance we have towards maybe our current situation or judging ourselves, judging our experiences, that actually limits us.
Precisely. That's what creates the limitations, the box we feel stuck in. The angels seem to be saying, if you want to create a reality based on, say, freedom and unity, you have to find that state inside yourself first. Your inner world kind of sets the stage for your outer world.
And Anne makes this really key distinction, doesn't she? It's not about suddenly pretending to love difficult situations.
No, not at all. It's more about acknowledging them, seeing them for what they are, but without getting tangled up in the energy of resisting them, the fight.
So acceptance isn't approval. It's just stopping the struggle against reality.
Exactly. And that stops the energy drain. It frees up that energy so it can be used for something, new.
Okay, so we work on releasing resistance, we cultivate stillness, and that creates this opening. What happens next in this angelic creation model? They mention a secondary thought form.
Yes. So once you've kind of established that context, that inner state of readiness, that open space, this secondary thought form starts to arise.
Like the first little ripple on a still pond?
Kind of, yeah. But it's not something you consciously create. Like, okay, I'm going to think this specific thought now. And suggests It emerges more organically from that feeling of readiness.
Oh, okay.
So it's described as this new thought form, but it's still maybe not fully known or felt yet. Its potential just starting to take shape.
And this links to the idea of spaciousness they talk about, the spaciousness of where you are. That inner stillness, that's what conjures the opening for new beginnings.
Precisely. That readiness that comes from stillness, it isn't empty. It's actually pregnant with potential. It naturally creates an opening for new possibilities to flow in.
And Anne mentions that the positive feelings that can bubble up from this state, they can actually lead to tangible changes, like new opportunities showing up or meeting new people.
Right. It's as if the universe, or just reality, responds to that open, positive inner state you've cultivated.
What really grabs me is this idea that a new understanding, a new perspective on what's even possible, it forms within that space. It's not us dictating it from the outside.
Mm-hmm. A new awareness just sort of blossoms in that open field you've created internally.
So by letting go of the old stuff, the limitations, the judgments, we free up energy.
Exactly. And that freed up energy is then available for something completely new to be created.
Then they talk about a newfound offering, starting to meld its way into something we can perceive. Meld. That's an interesting word choice.
It is, and N points out it kind of has a dual meaning here. On one hand, it means to merge, to blend.
Like ingredients coming together.
Right. But it also carries that sense of declaring something, bringing it forth, making it known.
So the act of declaring, even just internally, puts energy into that potential, helps it take shape.
That seems to be the idea. It helps make it more tangible, more defined.
And this first emergence, this first hint of the new, it's compared to a single strum of music in a silent room. I love that image.
It's powerful, isn't it? That first clear note of a totally new reality.
Yeah, and the echo, the reverberation. It suggests it's not just fleeting, it has the potential to last, to ripple outwards.
But interestingly, what actually emerges, the angels say, is often more complex, more interwoven than just that first thought or that single note.
It gets woven together with this phrase, spellbound surrender to ourselves.
Yeah, spellbound surrender. It sounds quite poetic, but it points to like a really deep self-acceptance, a trustful letting go of the past, of what no longer serves us.
So the end result might be complex,
Yeah.
but the core action we take is actually quite simple, creating a new space of readiness.
Fundamentally, yes. It boils down to cultivating that inner state, being ready, opening the door mentally, emotionally, just contemplating a new beginning, allowing ourselves the freedom to choose a new way of seeing things.
And uses that visual, the 3 circles, which I found quite helpful. The divine or creator, then you as the parent, and the new reality as the child.
The key thing there is that we, as the parent, we don't design the child directly, detail by detail.
Right.
We create the opening, the space, like a womb, you could say.
And the new reality, the child, it emerges from that opening, influenced by the environment we created, our inner state of peace and readiness.
Yeah, we provide the context, the nurturing space, but the new creation has its own unique nature. It unfolds.
And this whole act, creating this opening, it's not just for us, is it? The angels suggest it contributes to the collective, to the all that is.
That's part of the message, yes. The newness comes from within the context we're opening up. These new beginnings we're initiating. It ripples outwards.
And as more people do this, as willingness compounds, they talk about a stratified opening, like layers.
Yeah, a layered opening, where newness sort of builds on itself, expands, and creates something genuinely unprecedented, something never seen before.
So newness actually begets more newness. It becomes its own source.
It creates a kind of positive feedback loop of creation.
They also lay out this triangular process for how we recognize it. First, we embody the thought-open mind, new potentials evolving inside. Then we recognize its expression as it starts showing up in reality.
And finally, we perceive it, sometimes even feeling like it's coming from outside us.
It just shows how linked our inner state is to what we perceive as external reality, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What we cultivate within really does seem to shape the lens through which we see the world.
There's another strong image. The calloused hand that grips no longer.
Powerful, right? It speaks to letting go of that tight grip on the past, trying to fix what maybe can't be fixed in the old way.
Releasing the struggle.
Exactly. True change, they seem to say, doesn't come from forcing the old. It comes from that internal shift, that acceptance and readiness for the new.
And it all springs from this wellspring of saying and not doing. That sounds counterintuitive.
It does at first, but it means allowing, perceiving, relaxing, unwinding. rather than constant efforting.
And that state is what creates the very first openings for this new reality we might eventually belong to.
It's a completely different model of creation, really.
It really makes you reconsider how change actually happens, this whole perspective.
Wow. It certainly challenges the usual grind it out approach, doesn't it?
It really does. Hey, listen, if you're finding this deep dive as, well, mind-bending and insightful as we are, and you want to help us do more like this,
These do.
please take a second to hit that like button and definitely subscribe to our channel, Mystic Podcast Cruise. We're really pushing for 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, every single click helps us get there.
It really does make a difference. So, okay, as we kind of wrap up this exploration of Ann Tucker's channeled message, what's the big takeaway for you?
For me, I think it's this idea that creating something truly new, whether it's new earth or just significant change in our own lives, it's maybe less about having a perfect blueprint and pushing for it, and more about cultivating that inner landscape, that peace, that stillness, creating fertile ground, you know? So new potential can just emerge.
Yeah, shifting from controller to maybe a receptive gardener, allowing things to grow. And that releasing resistance piece feels absolutely central to preparing that ground.
Absolutely. It leaves you with a pretty big question, doesn't it? What could unfold in your life? I mean, if you intentionally made more space for that stillness, that openness.
What unexpected things might start to take root if you just allowed?
It's definitely something to ponder, a really profound thought.
Indeed.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep exploring those fascinating ideas out there.